Hey everyone, I'm Nathaniel Rufflejams, and this is Prime News. So our first story of the day comes from Doom. Now, a few days ago, or maybe it's been a week ago now, Doom released a patch 1.1, and it did some things like add gyro aiming and all that stuff, but I haven't really talked about it much, not only because I haven't actually personally experienced it yet, but because I was waiting for Digital Foundry to do an analysis to see what other improvements happened in the game and how it varies from what it was before the patch, because I tend not to notice things as easily as they do when they do their tech analysis. And we learned a few things. For starters, the game does factually hit 720p more often. The thing is, it still dips below 720p, and because of that, and because they suggest playing the game with motion blur on, it's going to generally still look like a pretty blurry game. So while Panic Button has claimed this patch does, make the overall resolution better, and it factually pulls it off, it's still not exactly what they would call a great experience. But hey, look, it does hit 720p more often, so there is that. What is actually really, really positive about this change is the fluidity of the game has actually improved. So there was a lot of instances when the game would dip below 20 FPS, especially if you were playing on the most on the most difficult mode in the game, which really amps the action up to 11. And when that happened, the game would regularly dip below 20 FPS and be below 25 for a lot of the high action segments. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. In two of the highest action segments they could replicate, they ended up seeing the game kind of sort of balance itself around 25 FPS. So the general average here we're looking at is about 27.56 FPS. And where it was averaging before was 25.6. Now, a couple frames might not seem like a big deal, but when you're that close to the threshold of dipping below 20 and staying at a constant 30, that's really, really good. And for someone like me, they note that if you play on normal, the game itself actually tends to stay really, really close to 30 FPS. So a lot of gamers that might be playing it on normal mode are actually going to see a significant improvement of potentially 5 or 6 frames. So yeah, that's really, really good. And they said the game just feels a lot smoother. Obviously, it's not the ideal 30 FPS lock, but they still are extremely impressed at how well this game is running on a Tegra X1 that's been downclocked even a little bit for Switch. They also mentioned a little bit about the motion controls, and they did note that the motion controls do create more precise aiming, as expected. I think anyone who's used gyro controls, even though I don't use them in Splatoon 2, can admit that the aiming aspects are definitely vastly improved over standard twin sticks. However, they do note that in this game in particular, there seems to be a lot of camera judder if you cannot hold your controller perfectly still, and since almost no one can really hold a controller absolutely 100% still, we all have a little bit of twitchiness in our hands half the time. It kind of does take you a little bit out of the game, but if you just care about that accuracy, it's definitely worth using the motion controls. Now, moving on, our next story is about Splatoon 2. There was an update that was supposed to release tomorrow, but actually did release today, update 2.3, and I need to note here that the patch notes for update 2.3 for Splatoon are so long that it took me, the first time I recorded this episode, it took me 15 minutes to read through the patch notes. You guys just don't want to sit here and listen to me read a bunch of patch notes. So I've decided this time around to cut down what I'm going to talk about from this patch to just things that are actual changes to the game. So the patch itself actually fixed a lot of bugs and issues with the game, and if you go, I'll have a link to the patch notes down in the description. If you go read it, you'll see a whole bunch of things have been fixed. You're also going to see that they changed a bunch of weapons, made them do more damage, do less damage, etc., have more ink sprayed per whatever. Like, you have to go check all that out. I'm not going to get into those super fine details, but I am going to talk about some of the changes that they've implemented. One of them is that they changed the location of some ink rails in Rainmaker on the Mako Mart, and that makes it so that they cannot be used to carry the Rainmaker to a high platform in your team's base. They also made it so that the tops of the shipping containers within Splat zones are not counted towards zone control in Splat zones on Walleye Warehouse. And they slightly adjusted the position of the sign indicating the area where the Rainmaker can't be carried on Arowana Mall in Rainmaker, making it more difficult for a player to get stuck between the path and the sign. Again, these are kind of bug fixes as well, but also just general map changes, because you could argue these aren't bugs. These are just things that improve the game. But these next couple things are very interesting. So they made some changes to rank. They fixed an issue in ranked battle in which there was a difference in player numbers from before a match began, so it would not be judged as an unfair match. That is huge. It's a huge issue that's existed in ranked from day one. I'm so glad that they fixed it. They also made changes to Salmon Run. They made it so that the hazard level max is displayed when starting a job if the stage hazard level is at the maximum level. In online Salmon Run, the title and rank of the crew affect the stage hazard level. Finally. So my scrub butt that brings down the level of the group is going to create an easier run. That's basically what they're saying here. They also made it so that more rank can be carried over at the start of the next job when the player has a certain title. So it's extremely awesome to see this. Again, go check out the full patch notes. I'm just glad to see Splatoon 2 getting such a major patch like this. Like, a lot of this stuff felt like it should have been fixed a lot sooner, in my opinion. But still, they're still doing major patches for Splatoon 2, and I feel like they're going to keep adding content and patching this game for, who knows, the next year, maybe the next 2 years. I don't know, but the Splatoon 2 community is extremely healthy. I could tell every time I play Splatoon 2 on stream just how excited our fan base is for Splatoon 2 and how many players are actually playing the game. Those Splatfest numbers are insane. So awesome. Thank you, Nintendo, for continuing to patch up this game and make it better. I'm very curious to see what the final form is going to be when they feel like they've actually fixed every bug in the game. The next story we're going to talk about is, this is a surprise. Outlast Bundle of Terror. It was a PlayStation 4 horror game launched on Switch today. And normally we don't bring up, oh man, some game made by another studio that's not Nintendo, or like partner with Nintendo released a game on Switch today. It's not something we regularly talk about unless it's a major game. But here's the thing. Outlast was never previously announced to be coming to Switch. It just dropped on the eShop out of nowhere. What's interesting, as well as the technical specs, are kind of impressive. So it does run at full 1080p docked. It does not use a dynamic resolution scaler, and it runs at 30 FPS there, and it also runs at 720p portable, which we know is the native portable resolution, and also 30 FPS. That's exciting. I've had some people on our Discord server telling me I need to download this game. I need to play it. It's apparently a fantastic horror game. I've seen some videos comparing the PlayStation 4 and Switch version together, and honestly, I can't tell the difference. I mean, does the PlayStation 4 run at 60 FPS? Because if so, I still can't tell the difference. But yeah, I'm really excited that this game came out. It's apparently a high-quality game. And this isn't the last we're getting of Outlast, because Outlast 2 is also launching on Switch 1 month from today, March 27th. They have no plans currently for any physical versions. But this is exciting. I'm glad this happened. And it's really weird to see a game like this that's generally well-received by horror game fans just drop on the platform without any prior announcement, not even a tweet. It's just like, hey, look, this is available today. Enjoy. Man, that just goes to show, in the game industry, we never know what's going to happen day to day. That's going to do it for the big stories, but we do have some other things I want to run down quick here towards the end. For starters, there was 45 minutes, or a little under 45 minutes, of Kirby Star Allies live streamed in Japan. The whole video is online right now, so I'll have a link down in the description for you to check that out if you want to see a whole bunch of footage of Kirby Star Allies. Not really going to show much of it here because as funny as it is hearing a bunch of Japanese people going crazy because they always seem to go nuts during their streams, I'll let you guys enjoy that in its entirety. Also, another interesting announcement happened today is that there's a LEGO game 3-pack coming to Switch that includes LEGO City Undercover, the Ninjago movie video game, and LEGO Worlds. We don't know what the pricing is, and right now the box art only has PEGI rating system, which is Europe. So we don't even know if this is coming to North America, but I figured I'd mention it because if you haven't bought the LEGO games yet and you're considering buying, even if you're just looking at buying one, you might as well wait and see if the 3-pack's coming to the U.S. We don't really know much else about it when it's releasing, what how much it's going to cost or anything like that. But yeah, Lego 3-pack. Who knew that was going to happen? That's obviously for Nintendo Switch. The next couple things we're going to mention are basically about Pokemon Day. We covered everything you need to know about Pokemon Day in yesterday's video, so if you're curious about what all happened today, you can go check out that. But there's a couple things in addition that I want to mention that are kind of follow-ups to yesterday. For starters, is that Pokemon.com released a bunch of statistics on the Pokemon trainers from the year of 2017 today. And while this isn't necessarily notable in and of itself, it's just kind of a neat thing to know. Charizard was the most viewed Pokemon in their entire Pokedex. As you guys might know, Charizard is my favorite Pokemon. It's the only reason we're even mentioning this. And to me, this means all is right in the world. It beat out Rowlet and Pikachu. So, yeah, Charizard, baby. All these years, 22 years later, still one of the most popular Pokemon out there. Or according to 2017, the most popular. Yes, 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 yes. All right, and sticking with that Charizard theme, we mentioned that they are releasing or have released or we're going to release today some statues based, or some figures, I guess, based on the Pokemon. And these were following up the ones they released last year. However, these ones are supposed to be larger. And, well, they were headlining it with Charizard doing his, I think it was burn something move. And, well, it turns out that you can go get it today. It is available on PokemonCenter.com. I'll have a link to where you can purchase it down in the description. And here's a look at it. Looks absolutely fantastic. Costs $28.99. I don't have the money to buy it myself right now, but hopefully this is going to remain up for the next week or two so I can purchase it. But I am pumped. You guys know how much I love Charizard. It's one of the few amiibo that pops up in my streams every now and then. Charizard is my boy. As much as people call me a Gen 1er, man, or a Gen 2er, or early Gen, whatever people want to call me for not playing much after Gen 2, man, Charizard is my bae, and still kicking it out there. Anyways, folks, I'm Nathaniel Rufflejads from Nintendo Prime, and this was Prime News for Tuesday, February 27th, 2018. If you like the video, you know what to do, and if you dislike the video, dislike it. It's Pokemon Day, folks. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. 'Cause you gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon!